What is going on, Trash Talkers? We are back with another episode for you. In today's video, we're going to give you our reactions to Week 3 of the NFL. All that and much more coming your way right now! All right, Nick, what a wild Week 3 it was with so many kickers coming down to the wire and making it when it was all on the line. And for us, we placed a couple of bets, and those kickers really turned out to really be on our side with the Raiders and Daniel Carlson, the Ravens and Justin Tucker setting a new record for the NFL, and then obviously Mason Crosby, Sunday Night Football, beating the San Francisco 49ers. What an incredible week we had, and I'm just blown away with the competitive football that we have seen so far.
We've seen some really competitive football so far. We've seen some really good defensive play. I'm just missing the offensive output we're usually used to. We don't see a lot of high-scoring games right now, and I want to see these offenses get to work bet more. I want to see them pick apart these defenses a lot more that we see in all these primetime games. It seems like all the non-primetime games are the ones failing us right now. I want to see some action at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. I just don't know why we're not getting it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot to work on for most teams in the NFL, and if you're lucky enough to root for a 3-0 team, then good for you. But I'm a little stung right now with my Patriots. But nonetheless, why don't we get to our 4 downs, and let's start off with a first down, taking over and taking a look at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders played down to their competition as we thought they would. And Nick, I just want you to talk about what you saw from the Raiders, what you saw from Jacoby Brissett and the Dolphins, and kind of where you see both teams going from here.
Yeah, so I expected this to happen in this game. I've been talking about how the Raiders are one of those teams that just plays up and down to their competition. They could absolutely stand toe-to-toe with the Ravens in 1 week, and then they can fall to the bottom and then have trouble playing against a guy like Jacoby Brissett another week. And this is just something that they've done consistently to know when it's going to happen. This was one of those cases. Jacoby Brissett under center, look, they made him look way better than he actually is. This offense looked way more functional than it actually is. This is not something we're going to see from Miami ever again. This is something that happened because the Raiders didn't want to play at their peak level of competition. John Gruden does not encourage his players to play at their very best 100% of the time, and pisses me off because these players have so much potential and they're not being taught the right way. Anyway, the Raiders need to pick up the pace. They need to figure it out on their own because the coaching staff is not going to do it for them. That they can play at a much higher level and compete against the best if they truly want to. And I think that they need to get there. They have to get there soon. Otherwise, I think that the Raiders' Cinderella story is going to come to an end.
Listen, I think the Raiders have the potential to be one of the better teams in the NFL, let alone the AFC. With the Chiefs faltering, and we'll get to them in a little bit, but with the Chiefs faltering, I think that the Raiders have an opportunity to compete with the likes of the Los Angeles Chargers and say, we are here in the AFC West as well, and we are not going away. Now, the Denver Broncos are there too, but I don't expect the Denver Broncos to stay up there, and we'll talk about that, in over the course of the week. But with the Raiders, you're talking about them playing down to their competition. They also play up to their competition, and when we saw them play against the Chiefs over the last couple of years, and we've seen them play some of the tougher teams, they have come up to the task. They have met that challenge. So while John Gruden doesn't challenge them to meet the task when it comes to the lower skilled and lower tiered teams, he does challenge them to meet that task when they hit the higher tiered teams. So I'm excited to see what the Raiders can do. Hopefully this is a launching point for them, and we can see exactly where they can go moving forward. All right, for our second down, I want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens narrowly escaping the Detroit Lions. with a last-second record-setting field goal by Justin Tucker, 66 yards in Detroit to send home the Detroit Lions. And listen, it wasn't a pretty field goal by any stretch. When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh man, that hit off the crossbar. It's over." And then all of a sudden, the Ravens are celebrating, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, he bounced it up. And listen, if you're a Lions fan, I know you're going to point to the fact that the clock had run out on the previous play. It doesn't matter. Right now, the Ravens are victorious and the Lions aren't, and that's where we stand. So, Nick, why don't you break this down a little bit for us?
Yeah, so the Baltimore Ravens, they really did get lucky in the end, but it was a very competitive game. A game where it really shouldn't have been. The Detroit Lions are showing a lot of heart, they're showing a lot of will, and that's great and all, but it's just showing us the inefficiencies in the Baltimore Ravens game on both sides of the ball. When it comes to the passing attack, Sammy Watkins is there, but Lamar's not even looking for him. He's looking for Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews only, and he's hitting Hollywood Brown, but he's dropping every single pass thrown his way, and no one knows why. Why is this happening? Tyson Williams is flashing out of the backfield wide open. Lamar's not looking his way. Why is he not looking to check the ball down when he's standing in the pocket for 4 or 5 seconds at a clip? That should not be the case. John Harbaugh's got to improve how he's running this offense, how his quarterback is functioning under center. I think that Lamar Jackson is improving. He's just got to improve a lot more. And for the defense, they really just need to stop some of these dink and dunks from the running backs, from the tight ends. They did a nice job with TJ Hawkinson, but I think that there's still some work to be done. They can't allow the Lions to just will their way to a touchdown every single drive. It was a close-fought battle and it was a low-scoring game, but the Lions really had no place being in this one.
I mean, just like we talked about with the Raiders, the Ravens played down to their competition. I mean, that is the juxtaposition we're seeing, where the Ravens were able to compete with the Kansas City Chiefs and ultimately come out on top in what was a very exciting matchup. But then all of a sudden they go to Detroit and it looks like they are just a lame duck that got thrown into the pile, and they had to come out victorious. Otherwise, they would have been walking down with the bell going, shame, shame. Like that would have been them through the NFL. So I think the Ravens are in deep trouble, actually. I think they have to figure out what team they are going to be. And this defense has a lot of holes. I was watching Jared Goff and DeAndre Swift torch them for no reason. I mean, the yardage wasn't there, so you can point to that. But overall, through the course of the game, the Ravens defense struggled stopping Jared Goff in this offense, and it did not look pretty. So they have to go back to the drawing board, and they have to fix it, because when you look at their division, you see the Cincinnati Bengals, who are up on the up and coming. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are always going to be one hell of a battle for them, and then the Cleveland Browns. They are one of the strongest teams in the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens do not have any room for this nonsense that they seem to be putting out against these lower tiered teams. So the Ravens have to figure this out. All right. Coming up on our third down, we have the Los Angeles Rams now taking over control in the NFC as they defeated Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, this was not a close game. The score showed it to be a little closer than it actually was, but the fact remains that Tom Brady was down by double his score, and Matthew Stafford just outperformed Tom Brady. It was that simple. The problem is that Matthew Stafford has the Rams defense with Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. Hopefully you've heard of those guys, but Tom Brady's defense, yeah. Antoine Winfield and Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis, these are the guys that you're supposed to have stopping Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Deshaun Jackson, Tyler Higbee. Yeah, that's not going to cut it in this NFL. Matthew Stafford at the helm is a lot different than what Jared Goff brought, and right now the Rams are showing why they made that trade, and Matthew Stafford is leading this team to where they want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. The Rams had a really nice game, but the Buccaneers also have some built-in excuses with Antonio Brown not playing, Rob Gronkowski going down for a period of time. I just, and then you have the corners who are hurt as well. I just think that Tom Brady's doing everything right. He really didn't have a misstep in this game. It's the opposite side of the ball. When you have Cooper Kupp known, everybody knows he's the number one target for Matthew Stafford. Why is he open on most plays? Why is he not being covered? Why is Todd Bowles not switching up his defense, his play style, to then disguise what he's doing to throw the Rams offense off their course? Because everything he was doing wasn't working. So why are you going to continue with something that's not working? Very similar to when the Chiefs played the Buccaneers last year. Todd Bowles was insistent on man coverage with no safety help over the top, and they got burned. Tyreek Hill had the 200 yards in one quarter. It was a very similar situation where Todd Bowles refuses to get off his high horse and realize that he is wrong. His style that he wants to run for this game needs to be altered 100%. And that cost them the game in the end. This defense was not up to par. Matthew Stafford easily picked them apart, and the Buccaneers have a long way to go if they want to be champions once again.
Listen, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their biggest weakness comes on the defensive side of the ball, and it comes in that secondary. They stepped up to the challenge last year, but now the teams have figured out a way to kind of expose them on the back end. They are running wide open, across the field, down the field. It doesn't matter. These guys can't keep up with the better receivers in the league, and it just seems like any accurate quarterback is able to pick them apart. Even when they played the Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan was giving them a run for their money, and he has Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage as his two wide receivers. So I think that the Rams are in the better spot right now with their defense and obviously with Matthew Stafford, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they better look out because the Rams are here and they are not playing around. All right, on our fourth down, we have to take a look at the Cinderella story of the NFL so far, and that would be the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I talked a little bit about them earlier, but the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously getting Joe Burrow back healthy is the most important piece. And then bringing in Jamar Chase to be his number one receiver, his go-to guy, the guy that he had back at LSU. I mean, there's not much more to say than they made the right call. Now, it was between Jamar Chase and Penny Sewell, and obviously the offensive line hasn't gotten too much better, but he has a guy who can get open and he can rely on to throw up that 50-50 ball, and he's going to get separation when he needs to. I like what Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow have done. I want to see more from T. Higgins and from Tyler Boyd, but the Cincinnati Bengals look great on the offensive side of the ball. And on defense, Trey Hendrickson looks great. Their big offseason acquisition. On top of the fact that the defensive backs have really stepped up and been able to cover some of the better wide receiver duos and trios in the NFL. Even taking a look at the Steelers with Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson, although he was out, and Juju Smith-Schuster, they were able to shut this Pittsburgh Steelers offense down, and they did a great job, only allowing Najee Harris to do something. And if you have one player who's doing something, I'm sure you're pretty happy with that. So overall, the Cincinnati Bengals look great.
Yeah, you pretty much said it all. The Cincinnati Bengals have had tremendous success, and it just shows you how much this team has improved. They made some nice acquisitions, like you mentioned, this offseason. They're really paying dividends. I really like Chidobe Awuzie. He didn't have the best career in Dallas, but now that he's moved to Cincinnati, he's really taken over that CB1 role and really had a really good run so far. I like what this defense is doing. I like what the offense is doing. I would like to see Joe Burrow improve a little bit, not throw some of those wild, errant passes as much. But he really likes Jamar Chase. I like the connection. And when you throw T. Higgins into the mix, it just becomes a lot crazier for defenses to handle. The Bengals are going to surprise a lot of teams this season. Them and the Raiders are the Cinderella story so far. And I can't wait to see what these two have in store for us next.
All right, before we end today's show, I want to run our 2-minute drill, and I want to talk about the rookie quarterbacks that we have seen so far. They have looked absolutely atrocious, and what I've seen from the likes of Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, and now Justin Fields has shown me that these rookie quarterbacks should not be starting. All four of these guys need more practice and more reps before they are seeing live games, and it's just been absolutely abysmal for their teams. Now, I will say Mac Jones has absolutely looked the best so far, but we did expect that a little bit because he had the highest floor when it came to all of these guys. But it doesn't stop the fact that he did throw 3 interceptions to the New Orleans Saints. Zach Wilson hasn't seen a touchdown since week 1. Trevor Lawrence can't get anything going under Urban Meyer and this system. Justin Fields has more sacks than he does completed passes. There is no cure for what is happening here. These rookie quarterbacks have to play better, and they have to start doing it right now.
Yeah, you pretty much said it. I really want to see Justin Fields get a little bit more reprieve. That offensive line is abysmal. Mac Jones, he's got some issues to work through. Hopefully, they'll let him expand that offense a little bit more, get things going. Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson, these guys just have no hope for this season. They've got to look towards the future and hope that they don't die in the process because their offensive lines are so bad. I just think there's so much work to be done with all of them. We don't even know what we have in Trey Lance, but it looks like he might be actually set up for the most success out of all of them.
Yeah, before we get out of here, I want to just play a little game with you, Nick, real quick. I'm going to throw a rookie quarterback at you, and you tell me what their report card would look like so far. So let's start off with the number 1 overall pick, Trevor Lawrence.
I'm giving him an F. There's nothing I liked from Trevor Lawrence. He's got a lot to work on.
What about Zach Wilson?
Zach Wilson, I'm going to give him a D minus. I think that he made some improvements that brought him out of the F category, but he's still got a lot to work on.
I know we haven't seen a lot of Trey Lance, but what are you going to give Trey Lance?
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B for now. I really like what I've seen. I like the way he's being utilized. It very much fits his skill set, and that's leading to success. So I like how he's being utilized and what his role is so far in that offense.
And Justin Fields?
Justin Fields, I'm going to give him a C just because he's in that tweener area. He hasn't had the ability to show us just because that offensive line was non-existent. He got sacked 8 times in this game, throwing for only 67 yards. So, I want to see a little bit more. I want a bigger sample size before I give him a true grade.
And finally, Mac Jones.
Mac Jones, I'm going to give him a C minus. I think he took a step back. I think that he was looking really solid through the first 2 weeks, and then he just had some bad plays, some rookie mistakes that we fully expected. Didn't expect them all to come in one game, but hopefully he can learn from it.
Yeah, I like all those grades. The only one I would change for Trey Lance would be an I. I think it's incomplete because we haven't seen him so far, but the sample size that we have seen, it looks pretty good. I just don't want him to become the Taysom Hill battering ram that we see from the New Orleans Saints. I want him to actually have some QB reps and see what he can do with his arm and hopefully unleash him a little bit. But nonetheless, these rookie quarterbacks got to pick it up. There's no question about it. But I want to hear from you guys. Let us know in the comments down below what you think of our 4 downs and what you want to see from these rookie quarterbacks moving forward. All right, well, that's going to be all for now. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. We go live every single day. That'll be all. Peace and love.